Welcome to Business in Berks, the web show where we interview Berks County business owners about their work to grow in Reading and beyond. We're pleased to be joined today by licensed realtor Dave Mattis from Dave Mattis team at REMAX of Reading. Welcome, Dave.
Thank you so much. Glad to be here.
So Dave, why don't you tell us a little bit about yourself and about your team and about your business in Berks County?
Very good. Thanks, Tim. We have a 4-agent real estate team in Berks County. We're located in Spring Township, Wyomissing, and we work in Berks County, all the surrounding counties, actually, because we have a team. We're really well equipped to handle a pretty decent volume of business. And what I do, I've been in business since 1995. I have evolved into, I'm a full licensed agent, but I've evolved into doing just listings for my team. That's my passion. Of course, I run the team. I do the marketing and all that good stuff. And then I have 3 agents. And mostly what they do is work with buyers. So we are really, like I said, well equipped, and we have, we can refer people to out-of-state locations. If you have a commercial need, we can handle that. So pretty wide range. We're helping, on average, I'd say over the last 5 years, probably about 125 people, families, in a calendar year's time. So we really enjoy what we do.
So you mentioned you got into the business in 1995.
Right.
Why real estate?
That's a great question. I literally had no clue, which I think is not that uncommon with real estate, to be honest. I was, in a career working for someone that I really, really loved, and he was, great guy, showed me a lot, but was just ready for a change, and just started to talk to people in my life that I considered to be mentors. And one of the guys was, Walter Greth, who was just coming up with some really strong new construction at that point. And he's like, why don't you sell my stuff? And that's exactly what happened. I interviewed with the firm that was handling his new construction, and just decided, with consulting with my wife-to-be, Melanie, at that time, and we made the decision to go for it. So haven't looked back, which is kind of unusual to have it stick that long, so to speak.
So 1995 through today, you have worked through the mortgage bust of 2008, 2009,
mm-hmm.
and now coronavirus, and a few different administration changes.
Yep.
Specifically, this past year, how has your business changed, and what sort of changes have you had to make in order to be successful in that?
Well, I would say the biggest thing that we had to do during that period of time, real estate was considered non-essential here in Pennsylvania, which is kind of unbelievable. But between March 15th and May 20th, which is when we got set back to the wild, as I like to say, we had to sort of sit on our hands, and we really had to kind of come up with some methods to transact virtually. And I'll be honest, we adapted and we had fun with it and struggled with it. We did a couple of open houses, we did some virtual showings, we sold a couple of houses, but it just felt so good to get back to what you might consider normal. But it's still different, so we had to adapt in that way. But the thing that I did was I showed up every morning, and even though I was at home, went down to my desk and just started reaching out to people, to make sure everybody knew that we were, all in this together, and that I'm here for them if they have any questions or need me. And I really think that, sort of helped, on the other side, just keep, all those relationships going, because that's really what our business is founded on, is relationships.
Given the number of people who are out of work over the past year, there have been a number of people who have been displaced and are looking for homes and are kind of struggling to get between them. How have you helped people in kind of interesting situations who are in between housing?
Well, it was, I'll say, the first thing I'll say is that the inventory is just dramatically low right now. We have less than 1 month's worth of inventory here in Berks County, and that's pretty much been the case through the whole spring and summer. So that has made it really, really difficult to find people houses. But we are managing to do it just by being prepared and being patient and being ready to go when a house, comes on the market. But we've come up with, some really good negotiating strategies as far as, if we're in a competing bid situation, which is very common these days, to at least try a few different things that help our clients' offer maybe get considered a little bit more. So that's one way. The other way is, we don't need to meet in person. Most people, even though there's a lot of fear out there, most people still want to meet in person. So we're just really, really diligent with the masking and then we get into a lot of people's houses and they're not wearing masks or they don't want us to wear, but we still do, So that's one way. And then, we in the past tended to meet with people pretty much exclusively, but now we do Zooms if we need to for someone that's out of state or even just the next county over. We do Zoom meetings to go over listing presentations, and so just those are just a couple of ways.
Over the last year, given the shutdown and the slowdown in business and different ways we've had to adapt, how have you seen those delays affect your customers?
Well, it really hasn't been as bad as you would think that it would have been. The lenders quickly adapted to doing drive-by appraisals for a period of time. They really did kind of adapt and adjust. But the one thing that I've found from being a listing agent primarily is for my clients, something that's totally out of our control and very frustrating is lending delays, like where the lender needs an extra week or two, and really not a legitimate reason that we've been given. I think it's just a matter of a lot of those people are working from home. It's just not the same, even though everyone has made the move to adapt really well. I have a feeling that's just what it is. But as far as business is concerned, it's very surprising to me, and I guess in a way surprising that real estate has just kind of gone through the roof. There's not much inventory because I believe people are, there are a certain chunk of the population that's just hunkering down, and they're waiting. They really can't do anything until they're, a little bit more clear about what's going to happen with COVID. But for the people that are ready to buy because interest rates are still amazingly low, and we can talk about that as in depth as you'd like. Pardon me. Now's a tremendous time to buy, and I think a lot of people are seeing that. We are seeing the migration of people wanting to maybe get out of the city. We're hearing a lot of different things about people being able to work from home, and that possibly, is going to be permanent, so they've been in their house for 2, 4, 6, 8 months and they hate their house. We need a new house. We need an in-home office. I think on all of my listings, I've been anytime that there's an extra room, I've been, mentioning, work from home, in-home office, just to, hey, take advantage of the current situation.
You mentioned a couple of things there. One of those, you mentioned the historically low interest rates. Mm-hmm. How have you seen that affect the market? I mean, are we living through an opportunity right now like none other for people who are looking to maybe start businesses or purchase commercial real estate or to get a home when they otherwise wouldn't be qualified?
All of the above. Yep, all of the above. It folds over into the commercial world as well. With interest rates being so good, commercial to me is a little more risky. I think that's something that obviously a certain business or whatever could be affected by what's going on out there much more than others. But as far as mortgages and buying houses, if you need a mortgage to buy a house, you just cannot beat the interest rates that we have right now. I mean, and a number of people I know have refinanced during this time. One of my lenders called me the other day with a 2% interest rate for 15-year term. I mean, it's incredible. So if you're thinking about dropping down in your term, and maybe you can retire early. So there's a lot of different advantages. But one of the other things, Tim, that you may have seen me do is I put out videos from time to time. I call them quick hits or whatever. But I did one where I compared 3% versus 3.5% or 3% versus 4%, and what the difference is in buying power. And it's significant, over 30 years especially.
Sure. I think the example I saw you say was a 30-year mortgage for a $200,000 home, and a difference between 3.5% and 4%. You're looking, well over $100 a month.
Right.
That's incredible.
Yeah, 12 times 360 payments, and I was saying, well, that's a down payment on a vacation home or college tuition or whatever. So that's the way you can look at things. So that has created a huge demand for housing. But currently, right now, through like December, I watch stats really closely as well. December and January, like we're running like 500 homes, in the entire county of Berks, and it's not enough. You know what I mean? So if you're looking for a home, you really have to be patient and, like I mentioned earlier, ready to go.
How have you seen the market react to the severe shortage of homes? Do you see more people getting into the home building business? Are the restrictions on that in the county? How is the market reacting to this?
Well, that's a really good question. And unfortunately, I'll speak to just Berks County here. And again, keep in mind we work in other counties. There's a lot more new construction in surrounding counties, Montgomery, Lancaster, Chester. Berks County has very little new construction. I'm actually on a committee through my local association. I wish I knew the name of it to put it out there. But one of the problems we're trying to solve is why there isn't enough new construction here in Berks County. So it really hasn't spurred that. I mean, there is some coming, and there are builders out there that want to do it, but the restrictions here in Berks County make it very difficult. We have, I think it's 67 different municipalities in Berks, and each one has their own set of rules and how much access they have to sewage and things like that. So it's been really frustrating in that regard. But with regards to other houses, people are ready to go. They absolutely are ready to go. If you are in the position where you need to sell or want to sell, it's luck. It's your lucky day. You're actually going to gain a pretty fair amount of equity. Or if you were very close before, guess what? Now we can sell and get you out whole. You know what I mean? So I'm finding a lot of that. A lot of people are taking some profit and then deciding what to do with it a little bit later.
So let's talk about that a little bit. You've been in this business for a long time now, the appropriate amount of time now. And how are you able to uniquely help your clients, given your experience?
Well, I think the way we're set up, okay, we have dedicated agents that are, dedicated specifically to one job and to do it really well. So with most of our business being by referral, okay, it allows me to just concentrate on the marketing, the listing, the pricing homes properly, doing my listing appointments, reaching out to my past customers, as opposed to having to knock on doors and go down the street and try to find somebody new that wants to move. So that dedication, I think, creates an agent that's accessible. Like if you look at our reviews and things like that, hey, he was accessible. He responded to my emails, my texts, and we're kind of like really passionate about that. Maybe a little too much sometimes, because it's probably like the legal business. It really gets into your blood, and you need to shut it off. But I think that is one of the things that our customers and the people that refer us look to. Hey, they were very responsive. So that's the first thing. Second thing is then on the buying side, same thing. If I was out there trying to help both buyers and sellers, and people do it, don't get me wrong. I mean, not every agent is on a team or has a team, and there's a ton of wonderful, great solo agents out there. But it just allows that person that's a buyer's agent, for example, to just, I don't want to say be at someone's beck and call, but they have much more flexibility to, especially in this market, get out there and show a house when it pops on the market. Okay, giving somebody peace of mind that they're not going to miss something, or at least they'll have a shot at it. Because one of the agents that I follow, she's a great local agent here in Berks. She makes some really good social posts about a house. 30 hours, 30 showings, 11 offers or something like that, and the house is sold. So that's the type of thing where if one of our agents that you happen to be working with is sick or on vacation, well, guess what? There's 3 other people on my team that can get you into that house to make sure you don't miss it. So
I've seen those posts before.
Yeah.
I'm thinking of one, it was just like over a weekend it was sold.
Yeah.
Listed and then signed within just a day or two.
It's incredible. It really is. Yeah. So it speaks to, making sure, like if you're a consumer out there wanting to buy, that you are not. I think the tendency is to just go out there to the portals, the Zillows, the realtor.coms, and search, right? But if you have an agent, well, guess where all that information comes from? It comes from our multi-list. So if you have an agent that you're working with, you and the agent are going to get that email on your inbox before it even hits those sites. So it just sort of speaks to making sure you've found someone that knows what they're doing and can get you into a house at the very least.
What's something you wish every one of your clients knew that maybe isn't immediately apparent to them at the beginning of the process?
Well, for mortgages, so on the buying side,
Sure.
The biggest complaint we hear is the mortgage process is torture. So whether we put it into words or not, and it's really not the fault of the lender, because just like when we have a legal need or whatever to recommend to one of our clients, we have a stable of great mortgage people that we recommend that will do a great job. So it's not really their fault. It's just kind of the way the process is right now. They ask for things more than once, and it's just very frustrating. So that's the first thing there on the buying side. And on the listing side, one of the things that I preach is, and I've tried to create so many documents to hand to people to say, hey, look, this is likely going to happen in this process, but I don't know that it gets looked at after that first time. Delays are the biggest thing, like I mentioned earlier with the mortgages. When you're in a position where you're selling your house and you are waiting for that settlement day and waiting for that settlement day and waiting, and then it comes, and literally the day of or the night before you get notified, hey, there's going to be a couple days delay or even a couple hours, it's very, very frustrating. So there's no amount of preparation that I can tell someone to prepare them for that moment, but it does happen. So that's probably the thing I would say on the selling side, is that you need to be flexible a little bit.
What's your favorite part about this business?
Believe it or not, it is getting a referral from a past client. That's the biggest thing I get a thrill out of. I'm not quite sure why. I think it's just kind of a signal that what we're doing is right, because we're in sales. The thing is with houses, you don't really sell them. I mean, you do have to help guide someone and sometimes push them when needed, but it's not really a selling game. So I think it's just very, very rewarding when you have someone that goes off after you've done a transaction with them, either help them sell or help them with an estate sale, and then they in turn hand your name out and say, you got to use this guy or this team. So that's the most rewarding thing for me.
How often do legal issues arise in your line of work?
Well, pretty much daily. We hope that they don't reach a point, where it becomes a problem, but inevitably it does. And all of our contracts have been created by, attorneys and committees up at the state level of our association. So, there's, every paragraph has a legal basis behind it in this 14-page agreement that we use, for our, what we call our agreement of sale. So it comes into play all the time. We do a fair amount of divorce. We do a fair amount of estate business. The other thing that can happen is somebody wants out of a transaction. There's a deposit sitting there. What happens with that? That probably is the number one topic of dispute, is when a transaction is ending, splitting, and not going all the way through. Is like, who's entitled to that deposit and how it gets released to each party. That's one of the biggest things. But what we're trained to do is to raise our hand and say, we're in this point of a transaction where it goes beyond my expertise. I mean, we're experts at helping people buy and sell real estate. We do know a lot about this stuff, but we have to be really careful not to wordsmith addendums and agreements without consulting attorneys. So like I said, it gets to a point where, hey, that's a financial question that you really need to consult an accountant for, or this is a legal question where, look, I can go upstairs to management. That's the first place that I go, because that's kind of they're responsible for us. So I go to them and say, hey, what's the next step here? And if we have an answer, great. If not, we take the next step and recommend that you speak with an attorney. So happens, not that often, but it's absolutely pretty much a daily involvement with the law in our business.
Sure. So we've worked with you. I mean, candidly, we've consulted you for a number of matters over the years. One of the things that comes to mind is a partition action. Can you speak a little bit about your involvement in something like that?
So a partition action being, couple owns a home together and they're parting ways, and now the asset needs to be liquidated. I would say the biggest thing that for those people involved in that to keep in mind is that I am responsible for treating both parties equally. If both names are on that deed, then guess what? You're both, my client equally. So it can be difficult sometimes because sometimes you'll have one of the parties, sort of approaching you on one side and one approaching you on the other side. But you truly need to walk down the middle and just do the best thing that you can for them. It does run into an issue where cooperation is a really big thing, where you need cooperation from both sides and sometimes you don't get it. So it can make it difficult, but the bottom line is, with you folks being involved, to sort of, for us, if we do reach what you call it, like a roadblock, we can say, hey, look, we need to get past this point. We need to solve this. Could you speak, to the clients and let's get past it. Because really the idea is just to get to the end. And we're currently at a point in the market where, getting it over sooner is better because the values are so good right now.
You mentioned, you made a comment about both names being on the deed, and one of the things that we've seen, we get people who call in, it seems like almost weekly, and it's a boyfriend and girlfriend, and they purchased a home together, right, and it's only in one of their names, and they had some sort of a handshake agreement where the boyfriend will hold the title of the home and the girlfriend will pay for utilities and groceries. Right. And it's been shocking how many of that instance we've seen. Have you seen a rise in that type of ownership?
I can't really say that I have. No, it's very, very common, and it's kind of funny. Many times the lender or the realtor will hear from, one of the sides, and the question comes up, well, do you want to both be on the mortgage? And you'll sort of get like a candid conversation from one of the parties that say, no, I want I want it to be just in my name, in case something does happen or something arises. But not really a rise in that. But it is very frustrating, to not have something in writing as a way to guide those people on how to end that in a very easy and amicable way.
Do you have any parting recommendations for anyone who's looking to buy a home?
Well, on the buying side, it is possible, even though everybody's screaming low inventory, and it kind of may intimidate some people and feel like it's a big wall to climb over. It is possible to find people houses. I mean, again, we helped 126 people move last year, both on the buying side and selling side. So the idea there on the buying side is to be pre-approved. Sit down with an agent, strategize, get pre-approved. Make sure you're within your qualifying ratio, just like always, and then just be ready to when a house comes on the market to get out there and look at it, so that you've at least had a shot and you can say, well, yes, let's make an offer, or no, let's wait for the next one. So that's on the buying side. On the selling side, listing side is really work with an agent that uses professional photos. I mean, it almost seems like a no-brainer, Tim. You know what I mean? Professional photos. I have a couple of admin on my staff. They're just amazing, and they are there for us to answer any question or solve any issue that comes up, if I'm unavailable. So that's really another thing, is just work with someone that knows the business. Experience really does make a difference. And I think one of the things that I feel is that people don't realize that there are differences between real estate agents. Someone that's been in the business since 1995 versus someone that's been in the business for 1, 2, or 3 years. And again, I had to start somewhere, and a bunch of people had to take a chance on me. But now you have to kind of let experience, speak for itself.
Well, Dave, thank you so much for sitting down and taking the time to talk with us. Really appreciate your time.
Yeah, glad to be here, Tim. Thank you so much.
You can contact today's guest in any of the following ways.